Yeah, so we're very, very honoured today for our second podcast of Extra Hands that we've actually got the founders of our company. And if we didn't, sorry, David, he's already piping in, so bless him. If we didn't have Hazel and David, none of us would be where we are today. So I think it's really, really important that we listen to their story and find out, what their dream. Did their dream come true, or is it a nightmare? So I'll hand over
It's a bit of both.
a bit of both. So I'll hand over to you to start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. 1992. I was working for British Gas, and they were decentralising and making people redundant. And they said to me, "You've got two options. We'll give you some extra money and we'll make you redundant now. Or you can hang around for 6 months and we'll make you redundant and you won't get the extra money." Well, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So I took the extra money, then said to Hazel, "What should we do with this?" At the time, Hazel was a manager with Norfolk County Council doing home care for Norfolk County Council. She had a team. Yes, you were.
And training to be a social worker at the same time.
That didn't start until a bit later.
No, I was trained to be a social worker in 1992.
Was it 92? Okay.
Very busy lifestyle then.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I was made redundant, and we had this redundance money. I can't remember how much it was.
It doesn't.
A couple of grand, or was it?
Wasn't very much.
No, it was only a couple of grand.
Yeah.
So I said to her, "What am I going to do?" For 20 years I'd been with British Gas doing what I did. And I said, "What am I going to do now?" And Hazel said, "Well, the Community Care Act is coming in 1993 at the beginning. I think you should do something with that. They'll need cleaners." Right? I said, "Okay, right." So with this redundancy money, and part of it that you had to go on a course in King's Lynn to how to write a business.
Like a plan of
what to do, and that was run by the government. It was free, but that went on for 2 or 3 weeks, and at the end of it, I had my business plan that I could use, and we decided that we were going to go down the route of doing that. I was self-employed at that time. There was only me. There wasn't a company. Extra Hands didn't exist. We didn't even know what to call it when we decided to call it Extra Hands. But some friends of ours, we were asking everybody, what should we be? Helping Hands? We looked at Helping Hands, but you couldn't be Helping Hands as a company because there was already a Helping Hand out there. In Suffolk, I think, or Cambridge, or somewhere like that. Anyhow, and our friend Malcolm came up with Extra Hands, and we thought, that sounds quite good. We'll go with Extra Hands. So we went with Extra Hands, working from home in the front room, and started. I don't know. We got the first.
Did you not advertise yourself?
We didn't advertise in those. So you advertised
for a start.
Yes. We didn't have anything come from social service.
No, to start with. No. We had adverts in the paper saying, if you'd like a job doing cleaning, ring this number.
Was it mainly cleaning you were focusing on?
Oh, yeah, it was all cleaning.
Didn't think about personal care or anything?
No.
The reason we went down that route was because I said to David, you won't have to worry about weekends if you do it. So it's Monday to Friday.
Oh, I see. Cleaning.
You won't have to worry about the weekends. And that's how that started.
Mm-hmm.
We started doing that. I had interviewed 4 or 5 people, took on about 4 or 5, I think it was, and we started. We did dentist surgeries in Tuesday Marketplace. It all sticks in my mind because we had a big problem there. That one of the cleaners went in and put all this cleaning liquid in a bucket and everything, and did the hard surface, and then gone and spilled some of it on the carpeting area.
Oh.
And as soon as you put a cleaning surface on a carpet area, it picks up all the dirt that goes over it. So you had this huge, great stain. So one of the first things I had to do was
Replace the carpet.
get the carpet replaced.
Oh.
And we had various, and we did holiday lets along the road, along the coast here, didn't we?
And this was all still in 1992?
No, this is beginning of 93.
93, 94.
It was May of 93 when we first started
Yes.
the company. As I say, working in the front room with a telephone. Didn't even have a computer. Had a book, not even an A4. It was a small book that everything was written in there. The name of the person.
Need to train staff then, or was it just? Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We got the cleaning bit. Don't need any training for cleaning really. And then for 6 months we plodded along with odd cleaning jobs here, there, and everywhere. Nothing with social services, and it was like pouring money down a drain because it was all going out, wages, blah blah blah,
coming in,
nothing coming in. Well, small amounts coming in, but nothing.
And you was obviously still working, Hazel,
Yeah.
wasn't you at the time? Yeah.
Yes, and I was
Yes.
trying to be a social
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you went to train to be a social worker. So then Hazel said, "I think we're going to have to go to care." I said, "What do you mean go to care?" She said, "Well, I think we're not going to get anywhere on cleaning because they're just not using it." Nobody from social services wanted any cleaning done.
No, they were trying to eradicate really the old home help at that time. And that's when it became home care assistants. So up until 92, it was home helps, and then it went into home care assistants.
Yeah.
So they were
The need changed, didn't it? Then it's
the priorities changed.
But even then, when we went to, well, we said we'll take on care. I asked the 5 or 6 people that with me, "Are any of you prepared to do care work?" And I think there was about 2 or 3 of them that said yes, but the others said, "Oh no, I couldn't possibly do care work. I'm going to stick with the cleaning." So we kept them for the little bits of cleaning jobs that we had. And we had a friend who was, what was he, a nursing officer?
No nursing officer at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
And we asked him, "Can you help us with some training?" So in our front room, we then advertised for more staff, for care staff now. And I used to interview them in the job centre in Tuesday Marketplace. Something you can't do now. It doesn't exist anymore. But at that time, you'd go in, you'd book a room, and along would come the people that you'd arranged to come. And most of the time, if you turned up, you got a job.
That was going to be my next question. How many people did you turn down, or
There was the odd one, and you think, "What are you doing here?" But we had some quite strange carers come along. But anyhow, so we started taking those, and then I don't know how I got the first call, but
we got the first referral from a social worker at the Hunstanton office.
Right, who knew Hazel?
Asked whether we were going to provide personal care. And this lady lived along the coast. And it was because the very first person that came along, they had a big budget, because in the first year of the Community Care Act, they were thinking of, "Oh, this is going to be great. We'll be able to support people at home." Hours didn't matter, budget didn't matter for that first year. After that first year, they quickly realised that they couldn't afford it, couldn't sustain it. But this one particular lady, we supported, and she needed a big package of care, which we provided, and she kick-started the business.
When you say a big package of care, what you mean, like double ups? Was it maybe equipment? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you provide night sits at that time as well? Yeah. Okay.
Wasn't double ups, no, it wasn't double ups, but it was a lot of time spent with her.
Yeah.
About 3 visits a day, I think, morning, lunch, and
socialising, things like that.
She was a very interesting lady. Her husband was a fisherman, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But he died, and she was left on her own. She was in her 80s, 90s.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So she
And
really
as Hazel said, at that time, it was what would you say? How would you say led? It was, well, they told you what they wanted us to do, and whatever it was, we would do it.
Not task orientated
Yeah.
from there. Yeah.
Task oriented. That was the word I was thinking of. But at that stage, this is how far along the coast is that?
Is it Brancaster, Stave?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
And that was our first. But a lot of the carers we had at that time didn't have cars. We had one gentleman that worked for us that lived in Hunstanton, went everywhere on his push bike.
Right.
But he was involved with this lady, so I would pick him up in the car, take him out there, drop him off, because they weren't quarter an hour visits. They were half an hour minutes. A lot of them an hour.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So I'd drop him off, sit in the car, or go into a pub or something, and not that I drunk, but I'd sit there and read my Kindle or a book or something or other, and go back and pick him up.
Yeah.
And that went on for quite a while. And we actually had, I remember one carer from Hunstanton used to cycle all the way there and cycle all the way back. A lady, wasn't it?
That's a long one.
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
Yeah. Quite a few miles. And she did it for quite a long time until in the end she said, I think it was winter was coming. And she said, I don't think I can do this in the winter.
Yeah, well, understandable. Yeah.
And we had other clients, a similar thing, where I would take somebody out, leave them there, and then come back later. So that was the first one, that the lady that started us off, and that was enough to get our name out there with the social workers. So once one social worker knew about us, another one would phone up and say, oh, David, can you do this? I said, yeah, sure. They'd come to the house, they'd sit in the house in the lounge with me and say, oh, I want you to do it. Out I'd go. I'd say, yeah, I'll go and have a look. I'll see if we can do it. Out I'd go, come back, say, yeah, we can do that. We'll do that, even if we couldn't. I said we could, but because you'd always get around it. There's always a way. There's, people think, oh God, what am I going to do? There's always a way around it. You might have to think, you might have to think outside the box, or in my early days, or even later days, my favourite saying was throw some money at it. Pay somebody some extra to do it.
Yeah. And it shows that you appreciate people, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And that went on. And then the hospital got to know about me. So there was a team of social workers at the hospital. They'd phone me up and say, David, we've got somebody that wants to go home. Can you do that? Yes, I said, off you go. And it was a few years later that I didn't actually meet the social workers at the hospital. It was all done over the phone. And then a little while later, somebody said to me, she said, we used to love phoning you. And I looked at her, I said, what do you mean, sir? She said, oh, you had a lovely voice on the phone. And I'm thinking, talking about me?
How nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
And so we got a bit bigger. And then we got bigger and bigger and bigger, took on more people, it was rolling forward. They were using us mainly in this area in King's Lynn. And then they introduced block contracts. It was going to be the big new way forward, block contracts. Would we be prepared to go into a trial to do block contracts? And we thought about it and said, well, it's going to happen, we'll go for it. We went for 2 in King's Lynn, 1 in Hunstanton, and 1 in Fakenham. So they had us into County Hall, explained what they wanted and what a block contract was going to be. And it was basically, whereas before you would get in 1 or 2s, you would then have everything in that area would come to you, and you couldn't turn it down.
Yeah, that was the only downside of it, isn't it? The pressure.
Yeah, you had to take it on. So we started doing that, and for about 5-6 months we were doing fine. Fakenham, we had to take on extra people to cover the Fakenham area. Round here, it was the original staff that we had, that we just expanded. And then out Fakenham area, there was Wells, which was done by an NHS trust. Then there was someone else and someone else. And after 6 months, the phoned me up and said, "Oh, can we have a meeting?" Because we used to have meetings every month with them. And at that time, all the providers would be in the same meeting.
Yeah, I remember.
Wouldn't be separate. You'd all be talking.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not doing very well this month, and you.
Well, they were small enough to be able to do that, wasn't
Yeah,
they? And then, yeah.
And we went to this meeting, and she said, "David, we've got a problem." I said, "Yeah. What's the problem?" I thought, "Oh, I don't know." And she said, "Oh, the people, the NHS that are running the Wells one, they can't hack it. They can't do it. They
Oh.
can't support it. Will you take it on?" I said,
Did you say yes there and then?
Yeah, no.
I did actually. I think, I did say yes. I said, "Will the carers come with them?"
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, yeah, but you have to take them on under 2p."
Yes, yeah, which is another story.
Yeah. But
It's a
anyway,
whole podcast by itself.
Yes.
yeah. So we took on Wells, and so we were doing Wells as well. And then what happened next? Because we ended up.
I think you
Oh
forgot.
no, we had to have an office. There was one. We had to have an office within a certain distance, I think,
Yeah.
and that was Holt came under this, and so that's why we set up the office in Holt.
It was very small, wasn't it, that office?
Yes, it
But
was, yeah.
had a wonderful smell from the bakery.
Yes, it did.
I remember. So it was worth going.
I can't even remember that one.
Oh, it was everything. It was at Church Street, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right by the
It was right by the, very small, nowhere to park.
No.
Horrendous for the
I
care
don't even
staff.
remember having that.
Yeah, we used to do the meetings upstairs and you'd have to bend down to the roof.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. No, it was not. It was a situation, but no good for the care staff for parking.
No,
It wasn't practical.
No,
No, not to.
Okay. Anyhow, so we took that one on, and then they decided this is the way they're going to go all over Norfolk.
Right.
This was originally, it was just a trial. So they then said, right, we're going to put everywhere in Norfolk in blocks out to Broad. So we went for the lot, didn't we? We went for, I think, every single one that we could go for. Got one in Norwich, or two, was it?
That's how Joe came to.
That's how I came along with it when you just won the. By accident, I heard. You didn't really think you were going to win it.
No.
And it was, oh my God, we've won the block contract in Norwich.
Yeah.
Which was, that was in
That was a big
2005,
Yeah.
that would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
And
That
we had
was-
to,
yeah.
we had to find offices and staff. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
We did the same there that we did here, in that we took not an office space, but an actual blank
Yes,
canvas.
that's right.
Set up everything in there. And then we took another one on there. Here we started with one of the units here, and then we took on another unit, we took on another unit, and then we took on another unit. Because this used to be a Land Rover garage where we're sitting here. Yeah,
Yeah.
those doors there used to be. He's now in Fakenham actually. Still business is still.
It's a
there.
very strange building, isn't it?
Yeah.
The layout of it,
Yeah.
the way it is and
Well,
everything. But
it's-
it's a bit more straightforward at Norwich, isn't
As
it?
I said
Yeah.
before, this was just an empty shell.
Just a shell.
Well, it was a garage.
Where you used to hit your golf balls.
Yeah, it was a garage, and James and I laid it all out, and we got the people in to put the roofs, ceiling systems in, and the walls, and the air conditioning there. So we were, where are we now? We went for these tenders, as they called them, for the blocks, and won 4, 5. Did we have?
Yeah, lots. But what you forgot to sort of say, really, from the beginning, where we started off at home, where
Yeah.
we were developing the training, and then I left social services to come and join you.
No, there's a reason why you left social services. I'll explain the reason why Hazel left social services. I was in this area. Hazel was still being a home care manager, then she became a social worker. Straight away, her management came to me and said, now we've got a problem. We've got a conflict of interest here because your wife is a social worker. She can't deal with you. I said, that's not a problem.
That's understandable, I suppose, the way it's, of course.
I said, that's not a problem. I won't buy any care.
So she had a decision to make.
Yeah. No.
Oh, no.
This time it was fine. I said, that's fine. I don't have a problem. And they said, well, we don't have a problem as long as you don't take any care from Hazel or a client of Hazel's. So that was fine. And that went on for about a year like that.
I don't think it was that long.
It was, because then she had a new manager come in, took over her department. And he said, what's this? How can you possibly be working in this area when your wife
is a social worker?
So he says, I'm sorry, you can't take any more work. And you basically, had a choice at that stage, was that I could go out in the area.
Yes.
Because I had a Fakenham, I had all the other ones, but I couldn't do the Hunstanton area. But I could carry on with the others. So I carried on with the others, and a social worker's friend
took over Extra Hands.
Actually bought Extra Hands here from me. He was an ex-Air Force chap. He was very high up. I think he was a group captain or something or other. And he was used to saying to his men, this was during the Iran war and everything, he was in charge of sending off bombers to bomb people and they might not come back. He was used to saying to his men, jump.
And they jumped.
And they said, how high would you like me to jump? Well, then he took over 10 or 15 ladies and a couple of men. And when he said jump, they said,
oh, I see. Right. Yeah.
He got very, very stressed out. He was ill. He went to his doctor. His doctor said, if you don't pack this in, you're going to have a heart attack. So he then come back to me and said, David, I'm walking away from it. I said, what do you mean you're walking away from it? He says, I can't cope with this. I'm going to walk away from it. I said, oh, have you told social services? He said, yes.
And they agreed they agreed that you could gatekeep it.
Yeah, they said, well,
when it's suited.
You can take it back over, David.
Oh.
That's fine. And we'll see how it goes. So as I sold it to him, he then sold it back to me. So I then come back to being Extra Hands everywhere.
Yeah.
Hazel, they were still couldn't take any care from her. Then
what did you used to, just out of interest, Hazel, what did you used to do about your service users or your clients that needed community care? Did you work?
I had other providers.
You had other providers that you could call upon. No, right.
Providers I could go to.
Yeah. Must have been a bit frustrating.
It was frustrating. It was difficult, and I could see where they were coming from. And we had an opportunity, I suppose. It was one weekend, wasn't it, when we were discussing how we're going to move forward with the business. And David said, well, you could always leave social services and come and work with me. And I thought, but that's putting all our eggs in one basket. You know, I still had a salary. We were still trying to build the business up. And but a weekend really made my mind up. And that was the best decision, really. Yes, I did. I handed in my notice and worked along with David.
The selling point that I put was, I can meet your wages and increase it.
You threw money at you, David. That's what
I said, you'll earn more with me than you will with social services.
It was really difficult. Was it a difficult decision?
It was a difficult.
It was because her manager said to her, you've either got to resign or your husband's got to take the business away.
Yes. And I'm trained to be a social worker, so I'd only just really getting into that role. Although
that background must have helped you so much.
When we think back with the training side of things, when we're talking about, you know, we had a friend come in to help us with the induction, but then I took over the induction and the training, and then as we've moved along in legislation, we realised that, you know, we needed help with that. And that was a specific role, and that's how we happen to have Justin today, who provides excellent training for us, because you can't be everything to everybody, and it's very hard when you start business to delegate and let people come and work alongside you. And for 4 or 5 years, really, basically, it was David, myself, and James at home, and we didn't get the offices here till '99, so we worked from home quite some time.
Yeah.
And then obviously we got other people to come in and help us, other managers, etc. When David and I started the business, mainly it was just David and I working 7 days a week together. And then a few years down the road, most probably 3 or 4, when we were more financially viable and we could decide to spend some money to help pay to bring some extra people into the office structure to help us, we did so. And along the way, we've had some very good people working for us, which has helped us to get to where we are today. So all those people that have come and gone in our office, we really have appreciated what they've done for us over that period of time.
Yeah, we went from the front room to a spare bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh.
My daughter's bedroom, because she'd left home, and we went in her bedroom. Then we went from there to a loft extension,
And then to the opposite.
and then we started here.
So we were in a position there where we could get a manager to help us, which we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then we had a care coordinator, and the 3 of us worked together to manage the service. Yeah. So they used to work alternate weekends, and I'd cover the Monday to Friday evenings, and they used to do the weekends and early mornings.
So at that point, when you started out, did you realise, what a
Oh no!
did you realise what a need there was going to be? For,
No, you never have.
Never.
No, you don't. You start off and it's like they say, from an acorn, a big tree grows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you have this idea, and you think, you have this bit of a vision.
Yes.
You don't realise how it's going to grow as you go along. Thank goodness. It took a lot of hard work. It didn't just happen, and it still takes a lot of hard work and a lot of excellent people that work within the company to make Extra Hands how it is today.
I remember many years ago, we used to, every month, all the block providers would meet up at Deerham Football Ground.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
We'd
did a lovely lunch.
Yes.
And we'd sit there and they'd all chat, and they'd say, and my big thing was, we're only a small company, we'll do this, we'll do that. And one day, David, you're not a small company. You're one of the biggest providers of care in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Because we were at that time.
Yeah.
But then things changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had some very good ideas. The best one was the Waterside in King's Lynn.
Yeah. That was
Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. No, I've heard a lot about it, but that was like a supported living.
Supported living, and we did that for a year, and it worked extremely well. But then again, local authority realised that it was too much money to sustain it. It's a good model, and it worked today, but everything costs money, and that's why we're in a state we're in.
So where did those people go from that? Did they stay there, or did they go into residential care?
It was a supported living.
Right.
They had caretakers, but they did. If there was a problem, the caretaker couldn't do anything.
Right.
But we had 2 staff on.
Well, I think we had about 4. We had 4 on a 24-hour shift.
Yeah.
So always somebody sitting there.
If you need to provide care, we would provide the care. Or if there was an emergency or somebody wasn't feeling very well, we could respond straight away.
So what did they put in place of that then? When you
They
didn't. No, it was just a trial period.
It was just a trial. They had a block of money.
I think most probably was the start of how they moved on to their assisted living. Their residential homes with the front doors. I think that's how it moved from that model
to the assisted living model. Right, okay. Yeah, possibly. All around saving pennies at the end of the day, isn't it? Yeah. So
that was absolute perfect. There was never ever a complaint. There was nobody ever didn't get the care they wanted. It was all the staff were happy because they knew where they would They would be every day. There was no travel. There was
Yeah,
nothing
it
going
worked
on.
well. Sam and I did. So going back to those sort of first times, was there regulators involved? The commission,
Yeah.
obviously not Care Quality Commission. Was it an inspection unit?
Yes, we had
From the
inspection.
council,
We had a
yeah.
local inspection from
Yeah.
the council every year.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had the monthly meetings,
Yeah. With
and that's when anything came up,
I remember them meetings, David. I remember.
taking them in a little tiny room.
I remember going to Sapphire House.
Oh yeah, that's what you say.
And we used to go and have our regular meetings. And I remember the absolute glee when they said that we were over our block contract.
Yeah.
Well over by quite a fair amount
Yes,
of
we had to be
hours.
working to the
And that was working to the target, and that was good to know. But I much prefer working the way we do now.
Yeah.
We can choose
Yeah.
and we can give people quality
Yes.
quality
It
care.
is.
It's quality
Quality.
rather than quantity, which
Yeah,
is this is
that's
work.
it.
So have you got any regrets, either of you, Dan? Is there anything you look back and think, I wish I hadn't, I wish I had? What?
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
How long have I got to spend? Well, there's got to be some things that
So,
happened.
there's no regrets. I
There's
suppose-
no big things.
I think most probably what we didn't realise in the beginning,
How big it was going to
no, and how much hard work it would actually take,
Yeah.
how much commitment it would take.
Yeah. You said little ones, not big regrets.
Oh yeah, no, just sometimes. Well, sometimes talking, but it's little things, big things. Oh no, it's the best thing I ever did was start this
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
You know, but because quite honestly, I don't know what the heck I would have done.
No,
I have no idea.
No.
For 20 years, I've been working for British Gas.
Mm.
You know, and then all of a sudden, well, where do you
but
start?
we've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We've enjoyed it.
Oh, I've enjoyed
You
it
know, it's been
more than you, I think.
it's been there's always ups and downs and everything, isn't there?
Yeah.
But the majority of the time, it's it's enjoyable. It's very rewarding.
It's satisfying.
It's satisfying, and it's nice to know that you're helping someone to remain at home
Yeah.
Mm.
and you're treating them how you'd like to be treated yourself. It's always been the core of our business that we genuinely care about everybody.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And we would like to be treated the same. And who knows, we might have extra hands come in and look after us.
Oh, I've had extra hands.
Well, David, you're off for your eye drops, haven't you? So yeah, you're not ashamed. You're
Yeah,
happy
when
to have
Hazel
that.
got around.
Yeah. I think it's really nice that
That's
you know.
quite funny, actually, when people come in, because a couple of them come in and just know that I'm Mr. Evans.
Well, they don't know anything beyond
Oh,
that.
no.
Well, don't know that you've
No.
with extra hands.
No, nobody's told them. I've had a couple like that.
So you're really like the secret undercover boss.
Yeah. And I sat there and they were talking about this, talking about that. And they said, you haven't got a
Care plan.
air plan and you haven't got anywhere I can click in and click out. And that's when I say to them, I said, do you know who I am?
Oh.
And they go, no. And that's when I go, I'm the founder and CEO. And they went, huh?
Oh, they didn't say
Yeah.
this gentleman's got a bit of dementia.
But
He's delusional.
yeah, it is nice. I think they maybe one or two of them, or one of them at least, thought
Really?
exactly.
Yeah.
Thought, what's he talking about? You know, but
Yeah.
because you don't know what you're walking into.
No.
Okay, you get a lot of information now, more than ever we used to give them when we first started.
It's fantastic.
You know,
Isn't it?
what we've got set up now with the training with Justin and you and Birdie and all the phones, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it, it was all written down or punched in on paper. We had so much paper.
Yeah, with all those poor trees. Yeah.
We mustn't forget to mention our dear daughter and son-in-law.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keeping it going as a family business. So they're the next generation, and they have the same ethos and work extremely hard to.
They've actually got James in particular is exceptional in what he does because he is such a perfectionist. he won't let anything go. When I was running the business, if it was 95%,
It'd have to be 100.
that was fine. James, it's got to be 100. And when we first started working together, he used to drive me mad. I said, for God's sake, James, let it go. No, I can't. That's not right. He is
It's very, if you ask him to, if I have a query with a wage or anything, I know that I will get a constructive, comprehensive answer that I can go back. Yes.
We are very extremely lucky. To have that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we're extremely happy to have.
But yeah, I thank you, both for your time, today. It's
Thank you for everything you do for us.
much appreciated, and I'm sure that people that work for Extra Hands are going to be interested in your story, definitely, because it is an interesting story.
Told anything when they're on induction?
About yourself, David?
About the company, how it started?
There'll certainly be certainly be signposted to listen to the podcast, as we always do.
Well, that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
They might think, who the hell are you working for?
I think from my point of view, I've been with Extra Hands for 19 years this year.
Is it really that long?
19 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah. And yourself, Justin?
14 years.
14 years. And for me, it's nice when I've recently been on, an open day with mental health services, and that everyone knew who we were.
Yeah.
That's great,
and that said it all. When Extra Hands and not wearing you base, they knew. Oh, right, yes.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's when I know that we're well established, well thought of, and that makes you proud, doesn't it?
So we're very proud. We're very proud, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. It's nice to see you both.
If you want chapter 2 and chapter 3, chapter 4 and chapter 5.
Well, they may well be.